Ian Trottier here for Discussions of Truth, and we're going to dial in. Look, listen to this story here. We've got yesterday Dr. Richard Bartlett, if you're not familiar with who he is, sent me an article from an InfoWars by Paul Joseph Watson, dated October 12th, 2021 at 8:37 a.m. A report by the Odessa Accountability Project claims that a 17-year-old COVID patient suffering from breathing difficulties entered a hospital in Texas, only for staff to place a plastic bag over her head after she removed her face mask. We are going to now dial in the mother of this person and see if she answers. So let's get to this. Article, and then I want to go over something else that has transpired recently. Look, folks, make no mistake about it. You need to make no mistake about it. If you are in the United States, you are experiencing a communist takeover. This is a complete coup d'etat by a communist regime that is right now sinking its claws into your American way of life. Communism is nothing more than a banking system. This is what you need to understand, you need to realize. Politics are for puppets. Banking is for war. Okay? And communism is not politics. Socialism is a form of political governance. Fine. But under the guise of who controls your money. And therefore, communism is a banking system, ladies and gentlemen. Communism is a banking system. And what the United States hasn't realized is that it's been under a communist regime in that sense since 1913, under the Federal Reserve Act, passed by Congress and signed by law by Woodrow Wilson in December 1913, ladies and gentlemen, 1913. The United States of America has been under a tyrannical form of government since then. And it has, economically, been under a communistic form of government then. Over the decades, this machine has systematically attacked the American way of life. So pull back, and it's not, and like I say, it now has its claws right in to your flesh. Here's an easy way to consider it and understand it. Anthony Sutton, former Stanford Hoover Fellow, is where I base all of this from. You can find that information at iantrottier.com. Just click on the research tab. And by the way, while you're at it, you can read the letter that I've written to I've written and sent to over 600 politicians. It breaks down how this European banking system has been at war with the United States since day one, 1776. Yes, George Washington owned shares in the Bank of England through the City of London. Well, the City of London through the Bank of England, rather, financed the American Revolution. It funded not only King George, it funded General George. This is not a message, folks, of complacency. It's time to act. It's time to do something to save your country. Should you enjoy those values? If you don't enjoy the values, then sit back and enjoy the ride. It's going to be exciting. You'll either win or you'll lose. That remains to be seen. The Federal Reserve controls the United States government. It finances the United States government. A very plain level. You ask yourself, why is the federal government in the United States in a federal debt of almost, $30 trillion? The United States dollar will be crashing very soon, unless it does something drastic, which is unlikely. And then it will be folded into this global order. And the ingenious part of this is that the global order is all based off of a digital currency. No intrinsic value, no gold, no silver. And this is where things get interesting moving forward into the future, doesn't it? Don't they? So if we step back and look at media and you say, well, I'm a Fox News kind of person, and these Fox News, Lauren Graham, Tucker Carlson, they're spot on. But they're spot on only to the degree that they are manipulated in themselves. Fox News is owned by the Murdoch family, isn't it? And what's interesting about Rupert Murdoch is he is in Australia. If you look at 2021 today, Australia is in a complete chaotic atmosphere under the guise of a COVID-19 pandemic, which you and I know has a 99% survival rate. It's nothing more severe than a common cold or flu, is it? Just like a coronavirus, just like the Zika virus in Miami Beach, 2016, that I was exposed to. You can find my information at bit.ly/capital Zika, Z-I-K-A, all capitals, capital M-I-A-M-I. That's Zika Miami. You can go to my website and find that. Just today, as a matter of fact, and I'll get back to the media, just today I was sent an article from a woman in Ireland that spent 3 years researching what she published. And it's now live on my site, Digital Slavery. 3 years of research went into that article that she wrote. The Bachelor of Science degree, I believe it is, or Bachelor of Arts degree, one of the two, and a Master's degree. 3 years. I took it. I understood what she was talking about. She was, I think, elated that I understood what she was talking about. And folks, I published it to my Medium channel. Medium, owned by Microsoft, Bill Gates. Within 2 hours, this happened just today, this morning. Within 2 hours, ladies and gentlemen, within 2 hours, that article that this woman wrote, that I posted, because I felt the information was pertinent, the same platform I used to post my 2021 letter to all U.S. politicians that I had posted close to, I suppose, 10 months now, 9 months now. The same platform I've been using for a number of years now. As soon as I posted that information about the QR codes and the vaccines and ID 2020 and the digital microchipping. As soon as I posted that article, within 2 hours, it was my account was suspended and deplatformed, dismantled. It wasn't even my research, folks. It wasn't even my research. Yet the bots and the algorithm that runs Medium, I believe it's through Microsoft, found sensitive information that they did not want. They did not want viewers reading and saying, we are in a war. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an information war. You're in an information war. You are in a battle for truth. And these same forces want you to live a life of complete confusion, subservience. And those powers root back, from my understanding and my research, through Basel, Switzerland, yes, the Vatican. The Bank of International Settlements, which the Jesuit order through the Vatican controls. You look at Archbishop Vigano, 80-year-old, penned a letter to Donald Trump stating that the COVID-19 is a hoax. He's a whistleblower for the Vatican. There is mass corruption in the Vatican. Folks, Pope Francis is not a Franciscan. He's not a Dominican. Pope Francis is a guy, he's the mask. Pope Francis is a Jesuit. And Nancy Pelosi, as of 2 days ago, was in Rome meeting with him. There are 3 popes. There's a white pope, which you see as a public figure. There's a black pope, which you see, or which you probably like if you don't see, but is the head. He's the general. He's the head of the military order of the Vatican. That is known as the Society of Jesus. And there's a gray pope, which is considered by many to be the financial head for the Vatican. So why is Fox News so important? If you're listening to this and you might be thinking, well, Fox News is my holy grail, or Fox News is my number one source of information, or Fox News is apple pie for America. Or you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, Fox News, I despise Fox News. Fox News, I can't stand to watch them. Fox News disgusts me. Doesn't matter which either one of those. Doesn't matter either one of those. Which either one of those you identify with. If you identify with either one, or maybe you've never heard of Fox News at all. But I'm going to tell you this. Rupert Murdoch is a knight commander, knighted by the Pope in the late 1990s. Rupert Murdoch is a knight commander, folks. Knight commander of the Order of St. Gregory. He is a papal puppet. He's a papal puppet. And Fox News is controlled by the Council on Foreign Relations, by large part, which is controlled by the Federal Reserve Central Bank of the United States, which controls the government. The Federal Reserve, a private central banking organization, is indeed the manipulating factor that controls the United States government, the United States military, the United States education system, the United States media system. The only chance and the only way for this country, in my opinion, to survive is for that banking organization to be completely dismantled, abolished, and dissolved. That can only happen through an act of Congress. That can only happen through an act of Congress. I began studying and looking into this, folks, 5 years ago. Miami Beach, because of the Zika spreading and other coronavirus, and what I found was fraud, banking fraud. Rockefeller Foundation owning a patent on the Zika virus, the Rockefeller Foundation, basically the majority owners owning the Chevron Chemical Corporation, that produced the pesticide. And that's what led me to Anthony Sutton, as Anthony Sutton described the Skull and Bone Society out of Yale, which adopts something called a Frederick Hegelian dialectic, Frederick Hegel. Controlling two sides of an argument, a predicament, a battle, a war, two sides, controlling all sides, both sides, two sides, three sides, controlling all angles financially, as has been done by the Rothschild anciently in Europe, controlling all sides of a conflict to dominate the nature of the outcome. So, as far as the Jesuits are concerned, they don't care what Fox News says on a nightly broadcast. Of course, they censor it to a degree. They don't want any attacks, or displaying information about their financial gains and what their genocidal crusade may be linking to. I'm sure all of those are censored. I don't know. I don't watch Fox News frequently. Same thing with MSNBC. So what you're seeing right now, like Bill Maher, you're seeing Nicki Minaj, you're seeing Pitbull, you're seeing what many might consider to be even George Clooney, I think, recently. But what we'd see recently, you'd see many who would consider to be quite liberal. And liberal is simply liberty. I'm a liberal. I love liberty in that sense, right? I love liberty. Who doesn't like liberty? So liberalism is a good thing. Conservatism is a good thing as well. There's no reason why both of those things cannot be united under one. John F. Kennedy. Okay, well, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or you're Republican. It makes no sense either way. They want you fighting. They want you divided, because divided you fall, folks. America, divided you fall. You now take a head coach of a major athletic team over comments that he said. I don't even know what this man said, John Gruden. Don't even know what the man said, but he said it years ago. 7 years ago, I think. 8 years ago, something like that. He said it years ago, if I recall. And he has now lost his job. He has now lost his job over something found in an email. Something found in an email. We are in dire straits here in the United States, folks, where you're able to go in dig up emails, private emails about conversations, and you're able to be a judge on what a person may have said that may have had a racial context to it? Where's this man's rights? He stands as a coach of an athletic team, and he makes money for all athletes, regardless of their ethnicity. Blacks, whites, Hispanics. I would assume there's some Hispanics on that team. I don't know. Are there Asians? I don't know. Yet because of something the man said in an email years ago, he has now lost his job. Certainly, there's a degree of respect and understanding. We all live together under one roof, if you will. But but yeah, let's get to the border issue. The borders are wide open, it seems, right now under Joe Biden. Does the man leave the White House unlocked at night? He's sleeping in the White House, I'm assuming. Is the White House unlocked at night? He wants a unity, whether people enter the country legally or not. So does he leave his house unlocked at night? Does he drive his car without bulletproof protection? I don't think he does either one of those things. I think he does lock his house at night. I think he's probably skeptical about some of the workers in the White House. I bet he probably doesn't trust some of the workers in the White House. I don't know. I'd have to speak with him. And for sure, I would guess that he does not drive a car that doesn't have bulletproof glass protection. So why is it that he's allowing his entire country to be unprotected? I want you to go to your search engine right now, and I want you to type in Rockefeller voting machine fraud. And there, I'm assuming, you will get a search result that leads you to a publication by the Lyndon LaRoche organization, where Anton Chaikin, Chaitkin, is sourced. This isn't an American thing. This isn't a Rockefeller issue. Voting fraud has been happening for years and years and years. But now you have what is a blatant stolen election in the United States. We've had those things in Cuba. We've had those things in Venezuela. We've had those things in other places around the world. But now it is blatant. The system is now alive and very well in the United States. The United States is under attack. The United States, as you know it, from California to New York, West Coast to East Coast. The United States is under attack. And again, pull back. This is a communist coup. This is a communist coup, and what you need to understand and what you need to know is that communism is nothing more than a banking system. It's a banking system that, of course, historically, because the greatest power on the planet, in my view, perhaps I am wrong, prove me wrong, the greatest power on the planet by means of influencing cultures and banking systems. I'm not talking about a military power, and right now the United States stands as the strongest military, but it is rapidly dissolving. It is rapidly being dismantled. It is rapidly weakening at a rapid rate. But in terms of culture and power and religion and education, the strongest and greatest power on the planet, in my opinion, is the Vatican. The Rockefeller Foundation has had a strong controlling entity and influence in the Chinese healthcare system since the early 1900s. Peking Medical College. The Rockefeller were controlled by the Rothschild. The Rothschild were controlled by the Vatican. This is, simply put, a holy war. You're witnessing a holy war develop right now, folks. And it can stay peaceful, but you have to speak out. You have to speak out. I don't suggest violence. I personally never joined the military. I don't believe in violence. I simply don't. I do not believe in violence. But I do stand strong for Americans' right to a Second Amendment. And I do stand strong for Americans' constitutional right and states' rights to defend their states, whether it's Florida or Texas or New York or California. Those states are entitled, per the U.S. Constitution, to their own militias. That is their constitutional right to defend themselves from a tyrannic overreach. Like I say, I never joined the military. I think violence is a very weak form of mental processing. But I defend people's rights to defend themselves. In a verbal context, I speak, I defend. The United States is the last beacon of hope and freedom on the planet. And if it falls during our lifetimes, it will be tragedy. For it not to fall, that requires you to act. That requires you to contact your local newspaper. Send them information you want them to investigate and publish. It requires you to contact your local politicians, whether in your city, your county, your state, and tell them what kind of lifestyle you want. It requires you to be outspoken, not to be afraid to speak your mind. Sticks and stones is the old playground saying, isn't it? Words never hurt, folks. Words do not hurt, and certainly the truth. The truth, as they say, sets you free. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to speak out. And right now, you are at a fight to protect yourself and your body, the vessel you've been given by birth, through birth, to protect yourself from a vaccination that is not a vaccination by definition and contains very disturbing elements to it. That it does not seem healthy at all. If you go to the website, iantrottier.com, and you click on that tab, Digital Slavery, you will see the information this woman has collected. You will see why you should not get vaccinated with this COVID-19 vaccination. I'm not talking about healthcare. I'm talking about this specific threat to a non-threatening virus. The injection, the inoculation, this is a threat on life as you know it, in every aspect of it. It will change your life forever should you receive it. And the subsequent booster shots, they're simply software updates, reprogramming tools. Now, outside of the Society of Jesus, which I know and see from my research, prove me wrong, to be controlling this international banking system, and that does include China. And the Chinese central bank, developed in 1945 after the result of the World War II. They control the Chinese, they control Russia. They, meaning the Society of Jesus, from my research through controlling the Bank of International Settlements in Basel, Switzerland. This is my personal research. Please contact me and prove me wrong. But outside of the Society of Jesus, who and which are the military order, yes, I said military order, they are the military order of the Vatican. And I'm not saying all the Vatican is bad. I'm saying that the Society of Jesus order inside the Vatican. So if you're a Catholic, I'm not saying you're good. I'm not saying you're a bad person. Even if you are a Jesuit, I'm not saying you're a good or a bad person. What I'm saying is that my research shows that the Vatican has a controlling interest in this military order. Well, is the military, in this banking system. And I ask you, if my words resonate with you, I ask you to do the research, to discover more. Send me more information that help expose this crime. Bill Gates is part of, my guess, the Federal Reserve System. It is non-constitutional. It does not represent the people. It represents a power out of Europe. It represents interests out of Europe. not American interests. He's not the only one. But technology is now on a very rapid pace controlling the way you live your life because it controls the banking system. Listen to the recent episode I did with Clay Clark. I've been speaking about this now for over a year and a half. Research Catherine Austin Fitz. Listen to some of the information she has posted. I believe that video is up on my site. If you just click on the research tab and scroll to the very bottom, iantrottier.com, americasprizefighter.com should take you there as well. This is a monopoly. The Federal Reserve Central Bank is a monopoly. It has a monopoly over the United States government and its Constitution and Bill of Rights. We are all slaves. You may have a Ferrari in your garage. You may be listening to this and you might say, well, Ian, I can grab my private plane. I'm wealthy. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. You could be listening to this and you could be homeless right now. But if you have hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm going to tell you that converted into bills, fiat bills that say Federal Reserve on it, those bills are useless. Converted into gold or silver, you have use. But converted into any form of currency on the planet, bills, they're useless, to my knowledge. Because you cannot walk into a single bank anywhere on this planet that I know of, and correct me if I'm wrong, and walk out of that bank with something of intrinsic value. You certainly can't do that in the United States. So you have $100 million of monopoly money, worthless paper. You can throw it into a fire. There's no use, there's no worth to it. I suppose that the other form of the worth would be to buy up a bunch of oil. But oil is not nearly as valuable as gold. Okay, I don't know economics that well, but I know enough to say that John F. Kennedy was a Knight of Malta himself, or perhaps his father was, definitely a connection to the Knights of Malta, which root back to Rome. John F. Kennedy opposed the system. And he was shot, head blown wide open in broad daylight in front of the American public. Folks, that is what American politicians, that is the fate the American politicians have received and experienced when they press back against this cabal. Abraham Lincoln, Garfield, Kennedy. There has been one president, 46 now, one president who has left office without a federal debt. None other than Andrew Jackson, and he ran on the re-election platform. You can search it right now in your search engine. To kill the banks. He knew the threat. He was successful. No other president of the United States has been successful yet. None. And it's up to you listening. It's up to you to be that difference. Only you can save this country. My guess is that it has life left in it. My guess is that there is still pulse. There is still pulse running through the veins of this great land and beacon of freedom for the world. And I suspect that there are many years of great American days left in her. But that depends on you and how you act. I've been looking into this for 5 years. This is where I'm at in that process. And I've dedicated everything that I have to discovering the message I just sent you. That is how strongly I feel about it. Prove it wrong. And likely there are elements of it that are inaccurate. But I ask you to prove them wrong. Because from everything that I have seen and told, I am spot on. Eric John Phelps. Listen to the work that he is doing. Listen to the work that he is doing by exposing this Jesuit cabal. And again, if you're a Jesuit or you've been educated in Jesuit institutions, I'm not saying you're a good person, I'm not saying you're a bad person. But I am saying that something is happening right now over the financial banking system. Klaus Schwab, the puppet George Soros. There's something happening right now globally in the financial system that roots to the Vatican. They've corrupted the voting systems worldwide. They've done it by, and they've corrupted the education system worldwide. And they've done it by manipulating great countries, banks. I'll leave you with this, and I will say, are there powers and strings outside of the Vatican? Yes, quite possibly. Are they controlling entities that control the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits? Yes, quite possibly. The black nobility of Venice? Possibly. I don't know who these people are. Nor do I want to know. Or do I? I might. What I want is for America to stand up. I want you listening to this to make a difference. Share this broadcast with a friend now. Share this broadcast with a family member now. Send this to your local newspaper or media outlet. Send this to your local politician. Lay it out on the line. Lay everything out on the line. Because even though this is an info war, it is a war. It's a non-violent war. It is an info war. This is a war. And whether you realize it or not, your livelihood is at stake. So use your best weapon, which is your mouth and your eyes and your ears, and make a difference now. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. What you need to do is you need to defend and unite under your Constitution. And thinking that it would be better if it were rewritten is a farce, in my opinion. Anytime you try to censor speech or press, you're a tyrant. I may be wrong, but it is my freedom and my right to speak what I've researched and what I know and what I feel. That is my right. If you want to take that away from me or from anyone else, you are the enemy. Same with religion, folks. Right now, the pastor Arthur Pawlowski is in court in Alberta fighting for his right to open a church, fighting for his right to open a church under the pretext of any pretext. You could have bombs falling on your head, and you want to meet in church, you should have that right to do so. He was told he could not meet in a church because of a health condition, a pandemic, something with a 99% survival rate. That's wrong. Because if you believe in God, then you know God created everything on the planet. God created the planet, didn't God, whatever God is. You can't deny any creation of God the right to preach, congregate, and praise that God under any condition. No other human being has the right to take that away from another human being. Yet it's happening. It's happening at an unprecedented rate, and it happened to Arthur Pawlowski. That's wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, that is wrong. If you're thinking this war, these elements of war, like Breitbart said, war, if you're thinking info war, information war, religious war, if you're thinking these things could not become part of everyday life in America, you are wrong, because it is happening right now as I speak. And like I say, only you, ladies and gentlemen, only you can make the difference. I can't do it for you. No one else can do it for you. Joe Biden, whether he knows what he's doing or not, he can't do it for you. Nancy Pelosi, who I believe does know what she's doing, she wants a global regime. But I don't think she understands the implication of what that means. I don't think she understands that means bye-bye to the United States, bye-bye to California. I don't think she realizes that. This international regime wants to destroy the United States. It does not want it to exist. Does Nancy Pelosi realize that? Probably not. Does Joe Biden realize that? Probably not. Is it possible that they do? Quite possible. Is it possible that they have sold their souls and they're simply cashing out to receive payment on the back end? Anything is possible, ladies and gentlemen. Anything is possible. Donald Trump can't help you. Ron DeSantis can't help you. Governor Abbott can't help you. AOC, she can't help you. No, only you can help yourself. Okay? Do not think for a moment elements of communism are a good thing. Communism is nothing more than a banking system. There's nothing political about communism. There simply is not. It is a banking system. All right, I'm going to leave you by addressing this article with a woman, Natalie, that was unable to join us. We had her scheduled. She was unable to join us. But I'm going to leave you with that article. Actually, I'm going to read a snippet of it, and then I'm going to address this article that was just now deplatformed off of Medium. Okay, so here's the article. Thank you, Siri. InfoWars. A photo of a teenager posted to the group's Facebook page shows the young woman with the bag, which features the words equipment cover, placed over her head and upper body. She is also wearing a face mask. You don't need to be a doctor to know that the danger of putting a plastic bag over people's heads, especially if they are already suffering from breathing difficulties. A 17-year-old young lady went to the emergency room in Odessa, COVID-19, Texas, because she couldn't breathe. She was humiliated and dehumanized by the staff, aside from the warning on the bag not to place this over your head, as it could cause suffocation. This is wrong, folks. This is happening. It happened. This is wrong. And things have gone simply way too far in regards to the COVID-19 fear. This is fear, meant to place fear on people. It's a psychological war. amongst other things. Digital slavery. Okay, so let's get now to Anne Monaghan in Ireland. And this is some of the content that she wrote. Eye open. You can find this right now live at iantrottier.com. Just click on digital slavery. On the AM of Wednesday, October 13th, 2022, I've written. For some reason, it should be 2021. That's an error. At 4:36, I received an electronic transmission over a public system from a woman in Ireland. The below content is a written article. With permission I share with you, I immediately transferred and posted the below contents to Medium. Approximately 2 hours later, that Medium account was suspended, disabled. This is the information that I received from her this morning. Hi, Ian. Please find it as attached my PDF essay, quote, from QR code health passports to QR code wrist stamps, joining the dots, end quote, which is the result of 3 years research. This is not hubris, but I believe it is one of the most shocking yet important pieces an individual could read right now. It's not short, approximately 15 pages before footnote references and photographs. However, if you value your civil rights and health freedom, it will be well worth your time. This information is factual, there for all to find, but somehow practically subterranean in both mainstream and digital media. The essay is broadly academic style, fully referenced in credible sources such as The Lancet, The New York Times, Wired Magazine, American Scientist, etc., and illustrated photographs. I will include the introductory pages to my attached PDF essay in this introduction directly below to give a flavor of its content. References and photos will not unfortunately attach correctly in the introductory email formatting. Some people have reservations about opening PDF attachments. I do myself, so I hope that having been sent to many directly, following requests, or perhaps passed on to you via trusted friends, family, or colleagues, that QR code health stamps or QR code wrist stamps is read and shared widely. I am now actively trying to get this into the mainstream. I ask you to do the same. So please go to iantrottier.com, click on the tab that says Digital Slavery. I will change that date because we are still in 2021, to the best of my knowledge, and I'll make that change. Please send that information on to as many people as you possibly can. Okay, 4, another Wednesday, and another discussion of truth. Leading the movement, from my understanding, across the country in the United States right now is Clay Clark, and his movement called Health and Freedom Reawakening Tour. He has Simone Gold, General Flynn. He has a number of Americans that are fighting for freedoms. And also look at We Can Act, just as it sounds, WeCanAct.net, Tina Horlacher. Also look at Ty and Charlene Bolger. They're doing great work. Mike Adams is doing great work. George Webb is doing great work. A lot of great Americans doing some wonderful patriotic work right now. Governor DeSantis, as I mentioned, to run Governor Abbott out of Texas as well. Americans are standing up, but again, it depends. It depends on you. And again, if you don't like what the American freedom and Constitution and Bill of Rights stand for, then keep doing what you're doing. Okay, and perhaps you're fighting for the other side. Perhaps you're fighting to destroy it. Okay, that's your right. Right? That's your right, isn't it? Okay, I urge you not to do that, but that's you make your choice. And outside of that, Chris Sky in Canada. Chris Sky in Canada fighting and leading the way. Of course, in the United Kingdom, David Icke is doing wonderful work, and in Australia, Max Agan. Reach out to me, send me some information, but most importantly, again, send this article, Digital Slavery, along. And until next week, until next Wednesday, folks, this has been another discussion of truth. Be awesome.